Hello, everybody. I'm Mikey.
And I'm Corey.
Every week we discuss and review a new book, movie, album, TV show, or honestly any piece of art or culture that ourselves and you guys choose. This is Mind Control. So there was these people who were being kidnapped and mind controlled.
Exactly, dude. And I can totally see how that happened. Because, like, imagine if you were just given acid or just drugs like that are so disorienting for hours and hours on end and never being able to come down and not feeling safe and having somebody tell you things and accuse you of things, you know? Yeah.
Mind control. That's how we do it, baby. GG's. Mind control. On this week's episode of Mind Control, we're going to be checking out and discussing The Wizard of Oz.
And on the next episode of Mind Control, we're going to be discussing the 2018 Ari Aster film, Hereditary.
The Wizard of Oz is an American musical fantasy film released in August of 1939. The movie is an adaptation of the book The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by author L. Frank Baum, published in May of 1900. Directed primarily by Victor Fleming and starring Judy Garland as Dorothy, it is widely regarded as one of the best movies of all time. This is The Wizard of Oz. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Mind Control. I am Mikey.
And I'm Corey.
And this week we are going to check out The Wizard of Oz. Actually, I got to play it in the background here. I forgot I have it all synced up. So it'll be played in the background. Yeah, I got to turn on the volume, you know. But we have high quality production here on Mind Control. So I do want to mention real quick, hi to everybody. Obviously, we have a lot of new listeners from the amazing tweet from Jim Carrey, and I feel like we haven't acknowledged that like we did in the last week's episode, but we should have like started off with it. So obviously huge fucking thank you to Jim Carrey and Dana Vachon for checking out the episode we did on them.
Not only checking out, like tweeting about it too, which was pretty cool. Like I was like, damn.
It gave us a huge boost on the podcast, not even necessarily like views or plays wise, but just like inspiration wise. Like we really feel really excited about continuing, and it's almost like a validation. So super huge thank you to them, and welcome to everybody who's here and new. This is something brand new. We've never really got podcasted like this before. I have one, but you know, it's nothing at all like this. But either way, thank you to them. And I want to acknowledge, you know, obviously it was a huge deal for us, but, after, we did the Jim Carrey episode though, we did mention that we were going to do Enter the Void, which unfortunately we weren't able to do because we had like a serious family issue that popped up and it hit a little too close to home. The concept of that movie. So we decided to wait on it. Right, Corey?
Yeah. No, it's coming.
Sorry, I just feel like I needed to give you.
No. It's just, it just wasn't the right time to do it yet, but it's definitely coming still, you know. And it's just like not the right time to do it out of respect for everybody else, you know.
Because of the way that this family situation happened. It's very, very similar to what happens in that movie. So not only out of respect for the family, but out of respect kind of, you know, for obviously the person who passed, but out of respect for the movie also, we want to experience it the right way and not have any, you know, outside impression bullshit. But we will get back to it. Thank you guys for checking us out and sticking with us. I noticed there's a lot of new people. So yeah, thank you.
And then also, did you mention, I don't think you did, that we're going to now be putting the episodes out every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. There's a chance in October we might have more than just 2, but pretty much every bi-weekly now.
Yes, it just felt like the right thing to do because we, like, at least for me, when we did Pure Comedy, I felt a little like I didn't give that enough time to settle in a sense. Like I was so confused about it. I feel like we're experiencing these projects that deserve more than a week worth of time to get into. So every 2 weeks, I think is a good time. So
definitely. It did feel a little, even for me, who I've heard the album millions of times, but like, I feel like the way we kind of try to dig into it, like for the podcast, it makes it a little difficult. And like, like even for me, like Father John, like, I think it was too smoking too. Like I got too high. Like I was like, I felt like, fuck, Like I was like, man, I'm not as prepared as I feel like I should be, especially because some of the, like you said, like an album like that or the things we've been doing kind of require a lot of thought, you know? Yeah. And they're like, I don't know, like they're all like different philosophies, like to explore behind everything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, bi-weekly is definitely the move.
Definitely.
But yeah, let's get in the fucking.
Let's get into it, bro. Dude, I wish I could show you the notes I have. They're fucking color coded. They are amazing. I've never written notes like this. Mila came up to me when I was working on them, and she was like, "What are you doing, Daddy? Like an essay or something?" I was like, "Oh, baby, well, kind of, but." I have an outline of the how I kind of want to get into it. I just have here are like our first thoughts on the movie, and this being our first movie, you know, I might call out on the outline, determine on how it goes for us. But fucking my first thoughts on The Wizard of Oz, I guess my first impressions of it as a kid was I really got lost in it as a child. I really enjoyed it. I remember like really watching it and really liking it. But I watched a lot of like older movies. I don't know if it was my grandparents or my dad or what, but I felt like I watched a lot of them. And this was one that was kind of constantly on repeat for me, probably when I was really, really young. But yeah, for me, when I liked it as a child, as I've gotten older, it's gotten a little bit more obviously dated. It's a movie from 1939. And, you know, it's definitely something I always considered a classic, something I always showed the girls, you know, as they grown up, and they like it, but, you know, it's dated. They don't have the attention span for it. It was dated when I was growing up. I just, you know, was a fucking weirdo little kid. But either way, I love it. I like the music in it. I think that there's like a beauty to the choreography and the characters and the costumes, and there's something amazing that they were able to accomplish this type of a movie in 1939. The way they used Technicolor and went from sepia tone to color and back to sepia tone, you know, through this fantasy world, I thought is really dope. But yeah. We talked about what you thought about the movie, and I'm so happy to hear.
Yeah. So, okay. so I mean, it's not the first time I've seen it. I've seen it when same thing when I was growing up. My mom like loved this shit, so I saw it, and I remember then not liking it too much, you know, and being bored. And I thought maybe like being older, I was like, you know, kind of getting ready to get into it. And before I actually watched it regular again, I watched it the first time with the Pink Floyd, which we'll get into. Yeah. So I watched it that way, you know, and then maybe that was a mistake and not just watching it first, because then I watched it like a couple days later. But I would tell you, I don't remember the last time I watched a movie where I've been that fucking bored, dude. And like, you know, like I was trying to make my best of it. I was taking little notes. I was like trying to write funny shit down. And I was just fucking bored. I smoked a lot of weed during the movie. I almost fell asleep twice. I will agree though, visually, and for the time it came out, I think it's fucking amazing visually. Like it's even today, even like with it being, because I know it's like restored and shit. Like the way I watched it, it still it looks really. It visually is very appealing. But I don't know, dude. Like even the story, dude. Like, let me see. I have something written down right here. Don't want to bring up.
So, would you consider it one of the greatest movies of all time?
No, not at all. I mean, I have respect. I have respect for the visuals, and I could see why. I mean, I guess I could see for the time period it coming out that why it would have such appeal. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, dude. It doesn't stand the test of time. There are other, for me at least, there are other old movies that I can watch that are old like that and are like fucking like they stand, you know. I don't know. This one I was just bored.
Do you think that has more to do with like? So are you saying that you don't like the movie like as far as like it's not entertaining, or like as far as like
I wasn't
you don't think it's meaningful or has a solid story or meaning, or the meaning doesn't stand the test of time?
No, you know I guess the theme of the story, I guess, does, but the movie was just like you said, it was boring. I found my mind wandering off every couple seconds, and then I would snap back into it, and then I'd wander off again. And then this was what I was gonna say. this is what I was getting into when I was watching. Okay, so besides it being a little boring, how does the Scarecrow not have a brain? He says like smart shit. Like he says because she says something about like how can you talk if you don't have a brain? And then he says, oh, don't people with no brains talk a lot all the time? Which is a like sarcastic almost joke. So it's like, how does Fool make it if he doesn't have a brain? Like he would be straightforward. And then the motherfucking lion, when they first meet him, he tries to punk them. And I'm like, if this fool had no courage at all, he wouldn't even step up like that for the possibility of them stepping back up to him. I was that's stupid to pick at, but that's not why I didn't like it. But you know, when I saw that, I was like, oh, it also is like not very accurate either. But I guess it is kind of like not a child's, but you know, like a family movie, so it doesn't have to be. I don't expect every movie to be accurate, you know.
No,
I watch a bunch of bullshit.
Well, let me say this: is that after doing the fucking hours and hours and hours of research that I've done on this movie, I really went deep on this shit, dude. And in mostly a lot about the like behind the scenes, a lot about Judy Garland, which I have a huge part on. But a lot about behind the scenes, the production, a lot about how the hell did I forget this dude's name? He's disgusting. I have an entire part on him.
Louis B. Mayer or whatever?
Yes, Louis B. Mayer. exactly.
I just started getting from MGM.
Yep, I have a huge
part
on
him. I actually just started getting into him a little bit earlier today, and I didn't get a lot about him, so I'm glad you got, because it seemed like an interesting talking point. I like the eyes you made right now.
I got so much to talk about. So, good. But as I got into it, I started to just like, holy shit, I got so enthralled in all of it. And then I rewatched the movie this morning, like mostly just the second half. And watching it after knowing all the things I knew, I was like so much more interested in it. Like, and I'll get into it. And I'm not saying that that you'll feel that way, but holy shit, there's so much shit that I had no idea about. I thought I knew a lot about the movie, like when you first got into it. Like I remember you mentioning, like, isn't it like kind of racist? But it's actually not. I couldn't find any information on.
Yeah, you know, I think that's just like a thing. I was looking into that too, but I had read that though.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. I definitely remember hearing that.
Like the reference that the wizard was actually supposed to be like a slave master, and they were going to ask him for things, you know. That's why
in that aspect. Okay, I thought that it was honestly, some of the costumes and type of shit. Like,
but you're right though. When I looked it up, I couldn't see anything, and I didn't see anything directly about the author being like that either. So I don't know.
The author of the book was a racist, but he was racist towards Native Americans. Yeah.
Oh, well, he's probably racist towards everybody.
Yeah. Everybody was racist back then, though. Low key. I mean, I'm mad at it all. Human beings are pieces of shit. But like, you know, it's just like it's like not everybody was racist. I guess there wasn't. Not everybody wasn't racist, but whatever.
But honestly though, the movie though, like I said, dude, I was just bored and I wanted to be interested because I know there's a lot behind it, in which I looked into too after. But it's just honestly, dude, after looking into it, it made me kind of not like it more. Like, I mean, like, because when I watched it the first time, I actually wrote it down. I was like, okay, when the horses keep changing colors, I was thinking, how are they getting these colorful horses at this time? I bet you they're fucking painting them. And I looked it up. They fucking painted them. And I was like, dude, that's fucking terrible.
Well, I mean, it's not that you like the movie. I find it interesting. That's kind of
it is.
Not that I like it, but it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, it's like serial killers. Like, you know, you don't like it, but it's interesting.
Yeah,
you know?
well, you might like some females out here to be liking them. You know, it's a thing.
It is a whole thing, dude.
Babies and shit. Anyways, fucking so. When I got into it all, I learned a lot, and it kind of like was really,
Mike, can we pause 1 second? Yeah. I don't want to stop the timing, but I'm looking at the fucking waves. It looks, I mean, some parts look like they're kind of touching, like not all of it. A lot of it's close, but not fully touching. If it's close but not fully touching, is that cool?
If it would be best if it doesn't touch like almost at all. But if it are they touching at all to the very top?
At parts they almost hit the top, and maybe once or twice they hit the top.
All right,
but
they get fine. It's fine. That's fine.
Pretty close. Let me just, you know what I'll do? I'll back the mic up.
Yeah, there you go. That works.
Kind of like right in front of my face. All right, cool.
That'll work.
My bad. I didn't mean to stop.
No, that's good. We don't even got to stop it. We'll just keep going. But
all right, cool.
So yeah, it's definitely a lot of dark shit behind the filming of this movie. and I definitely want to get into it. There's a summary here. It's about 8 paragraphs of the movie. I don't know if we should get into it. I don't want you to fall asleep. I have it right here, but and I think it's definitely. I feel like I started writing a summary, and it was coming out kind of fired.
Oh, so okay, do the summary.
This is not mine though. I kind of was like, okay, this is too much. This is a little much. I think we know the story of the Wizard of Oz.
But it is 2020, dude. Who knows? Like some people who listen to this, like might not have ever seen it. You know?
Okay, maybe the way it's written here. Who cares? Whatever. We're doing a podcast. It's going to be a long form of entertainment. We'll just get into the summary. Okay. This is by IMDb. It's about 8 paragraphs. So I'll try to read it and don't fall asleep on me. All right. Stay awake.
All right.
You there? You awake? Oh, let me get an energy home.
Oh shit.
If you and as I'm going through it, if you want to like talk about like a certain aspect, we can do that too. So
I will, yeah, because this will probably be the only time, because then we could get into all.
Then after we get through the whole summary, then I have nothing but interesting.
I'll stop you. There's some things I wanted to talk about during the movie. So
all right, so Dorothy Gale's an orphan teenager who lives with her Auntie Em and Uncle Henry on a Kansas farm in the early 1900s.
Exactly, right there, dude. When it opens up, it's like,
well,
damn,
you know what? Yeah, I would say when I read the book, I was actually really interested. It was actually really, really like it was a lot more like dark. It felt like and like just like real. And there's a lot of aspects of the book there's a whole section about the book that I'll talk about. So
okay, cool. Yeah, I actually wanted to get into it, dude. There's a whole website called archive.org, and like a lot of those books are free because they're so old. And that one's on there. Yeah. I downloaded it, but I just didn't get a chance.
It's tight because there's illustrations with it. It's a children's book. So there's like pictures and shit with it. But
all right, cool. I'll read it.
She daydreams about going over the rainbow after Miss Gulch, a nasty neighbor, hits Dorothy's dog, Toto, on the back with a rake, causing Toto to bite her. Miss Gulch shows up with an order to take Toto to the sheriff to be euthanized. But Toto jumps out of the basket on the back of Miss Gulch's bicycle and runs back to Dorothy. Fearing that Miss Gulch, who does not know that Toto has escaped, will return, Dorothy takes the dog and runs away from home. She meets an itinerant phony fortune teller, Professor Marvel, who immediately guesses that Dorothy has run away. Pretending to tell her fortune and wishing to reunite Dorothy with her aunt, he tells her that Auntie Em has fallen ill from worry over her. So I saw this different aspect to the movie that I had never seen before. When I watched it this morning, Dorothy, the beginning of the movie, the very first shot is a road, and Dorothy's running away. It's basically scared because Toto had just bit what's her name, the Miss Gulch lady,
the wicked witch.
Yeah, so it instantly starts like with this sense of like urgency off her on her end. But in a sense, I've never noticed that. I never really paid attention. She's just a little girl. You don't really pay attention to it, and I think that's even shown through the fact that she's telling her Aunt Em and her Uncle Henry, like, hey, she's explaining everything that's going on. And they're just like, shut up. We got to fix, these chickens are going crazy. Calm down. And they're just not listening to her. They're like, you know what? Just go somewhere. And she's like, and then she just like kind of walks away. She's like, oh, okay. And she's trying to tell them what happened and what's going on and to help her. And they're just not listening. And it's that part is kind of fucking wild. It's just like, and then eventually this shit goes down and then, they act as if Dorothy, I don't know. That was a kind of a wild part to me, seeing like, oh damn, they just not paying attention to her. And that's kind of like, in a way, starts them off almost like, I don't know. I don't think that this was meant to be done, but it almost starts Auntie Em and Uncle Henry off in like, as the antagonist in a sense in the beginning parts of the movie, if that makes sense. But then they end up being in a way they are though, like, because that's why she wants to leave home, and then that's the message is like like she wants to go back home after, she wants her family, and this is the thing is and so you touched on something that I thought kind of was like, oh, this is this movie is almost like the state of living that humans had in the early 1900s, of thinking that, hey, even if your family doesn't fucking listen to you, even if you feel lost and alone, you need to just go back home because you know what? Hey, there's no place like
That's
home.
your family. Yeah,
That's your family. And
That's
even
true.
they're not paying attention to the fact that they're the aunt and the uncle aren't paying attention that they live on this shitty fucking colorless
true.
farm in this nasty plane. You know, there's like
Yeah.
but that's her home and there's all these different like influences that are telling her that just makes her want to go back home because the world is so colorful and scary and terrifying, and she just wants to go home the whole time. So yeah,
I could see that. I never saw it that way. Yeah,
I don't know.
Like they are like they treat her like shit in the beginning, and then in the end, it's supposed to be happy that she makes it back to them. But it's like, why? Just because they're her family? Like you know, that is such an old mind state back then.
Yeah.
Like no matter how your family treats you, that's your family. When it's like that's not necessarily true. You know, like
I don't think that they meant to that for that. I think they really thought like, no, your family is your family. And it was just kind of the way you just treated a little girl who's like bitching, like just not paying attention, you know? But it's worth noting here too that in the beginning, in the books, there is no like workers that live on the farm and help her and talk to her like the guys. It's just Uncle Henry and Dorothy and Toto.
And the workers, if I'm correct, they are the Tin Man and the Lion and everything later, right?
Oh, and there's a bunch of in the movie, you know, there's things that the guy who plays Scarecrow, he said, you shouldn't do that because, you know, you don't have any brains, Dorothy? In the beginning, he references it multiple times. The guy who plays the lion references something about courage, and so does the Tin Man. He does something about like that they're going to erect the statue for me, and he's the one who plays the Tin Man. So there's all these like references in the beginning of the movie that they are those people. Nice. And you don't even know. A lot of people don't even. I did notice it, but it's just like there's more than
I never noticed until I watched it now, you know, but I noticed from their faces, not from like the little things they said, like you said.
Yeah. But all right, so I'll continue. It's all I guess we can get. I think it's also wild. Just Professor Marvel's scenes are just kind of like a testament to like how it used to be okay for this random, like acceptable by culture to see this random old man take a little girl into his tent with her. And like, you know, it was just a weird little aspect that I was like, I don't think that would be so accepted now. It'd just be it'd be weird to do that now.
I mean, I feel like
not that I have any problem with it. I think it should be totally fine, but I just don't think you would see something like that in a movie nowadays.
Yeah, maybe not, just because people would bitch about it.
Yeah.
But I feel like in this movie it wasn't taken that way, you know?
Absolutely not. No,
but he's the wizard, though, right?
Yep. He plays the wizard. He plays the guy at the door. He plays the guy driving him around on the horse. He plays Oz. He plays
You know, I will say, I forgot to say this. This is like, I mean, the movie is boring, but the way it looks, way it looks and everything, and especially when it's in color and when she first gets to Oz and it's like all happy in the Munchkins and all that shit. It reminds me of like fucking Main Street at Disneyland, dude. Yeah. It just reminds me of being in Disneyland, you know?
I feel you.
Which is is this a Disney movie? No, right?
No, I don't think. No, it's MGM.
But it reminds me of It reminds me of a fucking Disney movie.
Yeah,
you know, like
sure.
It's very Disney, like Disneyland.
Well,
you know?
and when I get into the production aspect of it, I think I mentioned it, but it's all. It was inspired because they saw after they made Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The success of that, they seen, we can make successful movies from children's books. So let's try it with this one. And that was kind of a direct inspiration. So let me, or did you have anything else?
Let me see what part. Yeah. When she, we're not even in when she's in Oz, but I just put that like Oz gave me when she actually gets to the wizard, it's Willy Wonka vibes with Nazi Germany, you know? It's like Willy Wonka. It's like Willy Wonka and Nazi Germany. That's what it reminds me of. Like when she gets to the actual wizard, like it has a Nazi Germany feel, but then it also has a Willy Wonka whimsical. But also, I have control over everything.
And what's so funny is he's just this idiot behind a fucking
aren't they all, bro?
Carpet, or whatever the fuck that is. Curtain.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what it all is.
All right, so I'm gonna read this next paragraph, and then there's only like 8, so I guess we could read this next one and see where that puts us. Dorothy immediately returns home with Toto, only to find a tornado approaching. Unable to reach her family in their storm cellar, Dorothy enters the house. Is knocked unconscious by a loose window and apparently begins to dream. Along with her house and Toto, she swept from her sepia-toned world to the magical, beautiful, dangerous, and technicolor land of Oz. The tornado drops Dorothy's house on the Wicked Witch of the East, killing her. The witch ruled the land of the Munchkins, little people who think at first that Dorothy herself must be a witch. The Wicked Witch of the West, who is the sister of the dead witch, threatens Dorothy. But Glinda, the Good Witch of the North, gives Dorothy the dead witch's enchanted ruby slippers, and the slippers protect her. Glinda advises that if Dorothy wants to go home to Kansas, she should seek the aid of the Wizard of Oz, who lives in the Emerald City. To get there, Dorothy sets off down the yellow brick road.
You know, it's also... well, no. Do you have anything to say about that?
No.
No, okay. No, I was going to say... when I was watching it, too... So I know the Wicked Witch is bad because of what she did to Toto and all that. Mm-hmm. But like they're kind of fucked up to her in the city. Like in the beginning when they get there, like they're singing that song about "Yay, the Wicked Witch is dead" before she's not even dead yet, you know. Mm-hmm. But they're like singing about her death and shit and like praising it, you know. Mm-hmm. And like I don't know, dude. Like I was like, she ain't that bad, you know.
Well, yeah. Like, I wonder what the story is behind that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, you know, like why do they all hate her, you know? Mm-hmm. And if everybody hates you in the town, you're probably gonna be bad, you know.
Yep.
Like it's just like the Grinch, you know. Everybody hated him, but he wasn't a bad guy.
That's a very like beautiful point of view to this.
Thanks, you know. I feel bad. You know, I don't know if it's about this at all, but I know there's a play called Wicked, and it's about the actual witches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have you seen it?
I was like this close to watching it in Vegas, drunk one time, or was it in Vegas?
Maybe
no,
I don't know.
Think it was in Vegas. I think I was not. Like. I don't know. I feel like I was.
I mean, they have a movie too. They have a movie too. I think with like Meryl Streep and shit. I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, yeah, but, that's about that. That'd be interesting to check out. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like that point of view at all, but I know it's like about the witches. You know.
That's right. There's a lot I want to mention in there, but I mention it all later in the thing. So, but I mean, I mention it all later in different sections. So I'd rather just kind of get into the summary. There's nothing story and plot wise that I want to say, I guess, about that.
Hey, for some reason, your mic keeps cutting. It's not cutting out a lot, but you're talking and then it goes. It's just started doing that a second ago. Okay. It did it like 3 times though.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Hello, hello, hello.
I can hear you. It just like will cut out for like a word and then come back in.
But I think that it's Discord. Hold on, let me check that. I think that's Discord.
Yeah, I did it again right there when he said check that.
Hello. How's this?
Yeah,
is this better?
Yeah,
that's better.
I mean, I can either way. You sound good. It's just every once in a while it drops.
Is it still doing it right now as I'm talking?
No.
Okay, I think it was just Discord fucking up. I fixed it now. It should be okay.
Okay, cool.
All right,
cool.
All right, so let me just jump back into this. I have a lot, bro. So I'm gonna try to like push through this summary as best I can because I have a lot.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
I don't want to get.
I'd rather get into all that anyways. Yeah. The movie's not that interesting.
Exactly. We'll get through it. Through it. Before she's followed the road very far, Dorothy meets a talking scarecrow whose dearest wish is to have a brain. Hoping that the wizard can help him, the scarecrow joins Dorothy on her journey. They come upon the Tin Man, who was caught in the rain and is so rusty he can't move. When they oil his joints so he can walk and talk again, he confesses that he longs for a heart. There's such a dope-ass backstory in the book for the Tin Man I can't wait to tell you about. He too joins Dorothy. As they walk through a dense forest, they encounter the cowardly lion who wishes for courage and joins the quest in the hope that the wizard will give him some. Dorothy's 3 friends resemble the 3 farmhands who work for Dorothy's aunt and uncle back in Kansas. On the way to the Emerald City, Dorothy and her friends are hindered and menaced by the Wicked Witch of the West. She incites trees to throw apples at them, then tries to set the scarecrow on fire. Within sight of the city, the witch conjures up a field of poppies that cause Dorothy, Toto, and the lion to fall asleep, which I thought was fucking hilarious. This bitch literally got them all strung out. She's like, here's some heroin. That's basically what she did. Glinda, and then some cocaine brings them back to life. I don't know if you noticed that. There's like some snowy shit that snows on them that Glinda gives them.
Asbestos?
Yeah, it's asbestos. Yeah, you did some research. But yeah, that's kind of like a drug. I don't know. I feel like I've heard that before. That it's like heroin that puts them to sleep, and then the snow comes and the cocaine wakes them up.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm telling you, dude, I really tried for you. The movie's so boring, I didn't pick that up when I saw it at all.
No, it's all good.
I don't even remember them falling asleep, really. I remember her waking up with the snow, but I don't remember.
I had a feeling like that. I just not a feeling, but I felt like you weren't enjoying the movie as much or into it as much.
Yeah, I
so
wasn't.
don't even trip because I have so much and just treat this as like
no, that's good. You know,
yeah.
I was expecting this to happen eventually. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for something for one of us.
Yeah, for sure. The four travelers marvel at the wonders they find in the Emerald City and take time to freshen up. Dorothy, Toto, and the Lion have their hair done, the Tin Woodman gets polished, and the Scarecrow receives an infusion of fresh straw stuffing. As they emerge looking clean and spiffy, the Wicked Witch appears on her broomstick and skywrites, "Surrender, Dorothy," above the city. The friends are frustrated at their reception by the great and powerful Wizard of Oz. At first, he won't receive them at all. When they finally see him, the doorkeeper lets them in because he had an Aunt Em himself. The wizard declines to help them until they bring him on the broomstick of the Wicked Witch of the West. Daunted but determined, they set off again. There's a lot of like different there's a word for it with like different like climaxes. Like I forget what the words are, but this movie has like a multiple like you think everything's okay and then it's not, then it is, then it's not. It's kind of like a classical movie
conflicts.
Like that. A lot of conflicts. There you go. But there's like a certain thing. I fucking took this like I don't know what class it was, but we learned a lot about like words and plays and like certain things like that. I fucking yeah. But anyways, 4 more paragraphs. The witch sends winged monkeys to attack Dorothy's party before they reach her castle. The monkeys snatch Dorothy and Toto and scatter the others. When the witch finds that the ruby slippers can't be taken against Dorothy's will as long as the girl is alive, she turns her hourglass and threatens that Dorothy will die when it runs out. Meanwhile, Toto has escaped and run for help. Dressed as a guardsman, the Lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow sneak into the castle and free Dorothy. They're discovered before they can escape. However, and the witch and her guards corner them and set the Scarecrow on fire. Dorothy douses him with a pail of water, splashing the witch by accident. The water causes the witch to disintegrate. "I'm melting." That's what it says here. The guards are happy to let Dorothy have the witch's broomstick, and Dorothy and her friends return to the Emerald City. So right there, it's like an end. It's like a resolution. There's multiple resolutions. There's something like that, some words. But I think it's super interesting that all you needed to do is splash some water to like fucking spray. It's like a little kitty cat. You spray her with some down like a spray bottle of water and you kill the witch. Like, and that was never mentioned. Grilda never, or whatever her name is, didn't know it. And what does that even mean? And I think that it's kind of like, I don't know. I look real into it, and I have like a deeper meaning as to why I feel like it might have killed her or hurt her, but I don't think that this is what they've meant. I feel like the entire movie is this idea of innocence, which is Dorothy, which is her innocence to the impact her family has on her, the innocence that she has when just wanting to go home back to that, the innocence she has in wanting to help everyone around her, the innocence and it all just being like kind of like all these different influences trying to kill that innocence. And the fact that water defeated the witch was kind of like water is pure and that killed the evil.
Yeah, I see where you're going with it. Yeah, the purity, because I can see that, and it's all about innocence and keeping that innocence, and
And then there's this other part of the story, which is the Wizard of Oz and him being an actual wizard who wanted to do good. And we'll get into that. The wizard isn't pleased to see them again. He blusters until Toto pulls aside a curtain in the corner of the audience chamber to reveal an old man who resembles Professor Marvel, pulling levers and speaking into a microphone. The so-called wizard, as the Scarecrow says, is a humbug. He's abashed and apologetic, but quickly finds ways to help Dorothy's friends. A diploma for the Scarecrow, a medal of valor for the Lion, and a testimonial heart-shaped watch for the Tin Man. Then he reveals that he's from Kansas himself and came to Oz in a hot air balloon, in which he proposes to take Dorothy home. The wizard appoints the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion rulers of Oz in his absence. So the fact that Oz wanted to take off with Dorothy, to me, kind of, and then the fact that like she just randomly, okay. Hold on. Just as the balloon is about to take off, Toto runs after a cat and Dorothy follows him. Unable to stop, the wizard leaves without Dorothy. But Glinda appears and explains that Dorothy has always had the power to go home. Glinda didn't tell her before because Dorothy wouldn't have believed it. Bidding her friends a tearful goodbye, Dorothy taps her heels together 3 times, repeats there's no place like home, and the ruby slippers take her and Toto back to Kansas.
What? Why did she have to believe it to do that? She had the shoes in the very beginning. She could have just been like, tap them shoes together.
And what resolution happened here that made her believe it? What happened? What lesson did she learn?
Because
that
if
made
anything,
her believe it?
she should have believed less because she saw that this was just a man behind a curtain and maybe everything is that way, you know? Like, I feel like, if anything, she should have believed in less. Because didn't she send her on this quest to begin with? Yep. Go ask the wizard. Yep. And then the wizard was fake. So shouldn't she not even believe her now? I'd be like, well, you told me to go see the wizard and that was bullshit. Yep. So now you're telling me to click my shoes together? Like,
unless there was some sort of lesson she learned by going to the wizard and by helping these people and being.
I think that's, I mean, I don't know. What was the main lesson that
I feel like there's a bunch of different confusing, like trying to be like there's a bunch of different like lessons trying to be taught with this movie. And because everyone was such a huge piece of shit who was making it, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing when it came to like trying to wrap it up and trying to have like a solid base to it. And I think that
total hack job.
I think that because of that, it's kind of like up to your interpretation of it all. And my interpretation of it was Oz was kind of a piece of shit. I think he was just, he wanted to do well, but he was not innocence. Innocence was her ruby slippers. Innocence was her and her belief in herself, and possibly her belief in herself is what she needed to learn. But I don't know if the story made me feel like she learned that, and maybe I don't know.
Oz reminded me of like an alcoholic, you know, like a drunk that was trying to just make it, you know, because when he got caught up, he wasn't like powerful about it. Like, oh, you're gonna get killed for finding me. He was like a little bitch. Like,
he was Robert Baratheon.
Like, he found out my weakness. You know, like, oh my god, yeah. He just, I mean, I don't know, man.
So
I don't like
one last couple sentences to end the summary. Dorothy wakes up in her own bed with Auntie Em and Uncle Henry fussing over her. Professor Marvel and the farmhands Hunk and Hickory stop by to see, I think there's a third name there that's not there, by to see how she's doing. She raises indulgent laughter when she tells them about Oz, but she's so happy to be home she doesn't mind that they don't believe her. Miss Gulch is never mentioned again. I'd be curious to look up what people like took from this movie, you know, and like what their ideas of it all are.
I mean, I know there's a message, but I always just assume people watched it, like my mom, because it was entertaining and joyous, and it's like when you watch a fucking sitcom, you know, like
it seemed like there's a deeper meaning though, but as far as definitely in the book, no, but like there was a deeper meaning, but because there were so many different people involved in it, I'll tell you about how many different people were involved in the writing and production and directing. But I don't know. I just feel like it got lost. The lesson got lost.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a blockbuster film, you know? Like, there's a lesson in there somewhere, but it's not like what it could have been if they would have made it. I don't know. I think I'm biased because I did. Yeah, you know, because this is a huge fucking. This when they put it out too, it was supposed to be a big cash grab, you know? So it's like, I don't know. That's why maybe I didn't even go into the movie looking for a meaning. I just was. I don't know, dude. I think I'm biased either way because I didn't like the movie at all. Yeah. But yeah, like the meaning, even if it was there, wasn't strong enough for me to take home much from it. You know, like I enjoyed a lot more looking behind the scenes and like, oh shit, like what the fuck was going on at MGM? You know, like
that's true. I guess I didn't go into it necessarily looking for like a meaning to the movie either. But I know that, and as I read the book, that there's definitely something there, but there wasn't anything there for me to grasp. And I think as I did more research, like I'll tell you, like there was somebody.
Were you able to grasp more of the meaning from the book? Did you?
I didn't. I only got about halfway through the book last night, so I wasn't able to finish it. But it has a lot more. It's a children's book as well, but it has a lot more of like a moral, what feels like a moral, trying to teach a lesson, a solid point of view, kind of. It definitely was really interesting. I'm going to still finish it.
I'm going to read it since I downloaded it. Might as well, you know?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
It. Yeah. And it doesn't seem like it was that long, you know?
No.
I mean, like it's long,
It's
but
like 3 hours long, the audiobook, so it's really short
yeah.
actually. All right. So there is this one part from the book that doesn't really have any sort of place. So I guess I could just use this as some sort of a transition. This is a quote from the book of the Scarecrow talking to Dorothy. "Tell me something about yourself and the country you came from," said the Scarecrow when she had finished her dinner. She told him all about Kansas and how gray everything was there, and how the cyclone had carried her to this queer land of Oz. The Scarecrow listened carefully and said, "I cannot understand why you should wish to leave this beautiful country and go back to the dry, gray place you call Kansas." "That is because you have no brains," answered the girl. "No matter how dreary and gray our homes are, we people of flesh and blood would rather live there than in any other country, be it ever so beautiful. There is no place like home." The Scarecrow sighed. "Of course I cannot understand it," he said. "If your heads were stuffed with straw like mine, you would probably all live in the beautiful places, and then Kansas, you would have no people at all. It is fortunate for Kansas that you have brains." He's an asshole.
He's an. Do you think it's interesting too that I would I mean, I could be wrong, who knows? But if he wouldn't have brains, he'd have a heart, so he'd be all heart, right? So he should be able to understand that concept at least, because I feel like if anything, brains complicate things. That idea, the ability to know other things and to think that there are other things out there leads you to stray from home to begin with,
Well, I think
like, if you're content just staying at home, you'll stay at home. But if you're thinking and smart and you're aware that there's other things in the world, you're more likely to leave home and not understand. I mean, I'm just reading too much into what you just said. I haven't read the book. I do like that quote though.
But see, what I think you're missing what my point of view of it, and you might be right. I don't know, but I'm thinking I'm thinking of it more as the Scarecrow is trying to teach a lesson by being sarcastic, or the writer is teaching a lesson through the Scarecrow to being sarcastic, because it's all like kind of like obvious. Like the Scarecrow has brains, and he doesn't even understand it. And he has the brains. That's the whole point. The lion has the courage, like you said. They have these abilities. The Tin Man had the ability to love. They already have it in them, and that's why when the Oz gives them this piece, this nothing trinket, they all of a sudden now he has a heart. Now he has a brain. It's just it's literally Space Jam. When he gives them the water, it's the same idea.
You know what? That's a much better. Now I get it. Now I get it.
You love it now, huh? You love it.
Said Space Jam, bro. I'm like, oh shit, okay.
Space Jam. So my first impressions of the book, and this is a good transition into what I have next, which is the fact that there are 5 different film adaptations of this book. So there's 5 different movies of this.
Yeah, I knew there was a couple of different things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and to transition to that, I can just give you my thoughts on what I felt the book was real quick, and I kind of already mentioned
go ahead.
It was dope that it was illustrated. I feel like you had a lot more of like a deeper, more solid meaning. Seemed like a lot more interesting. It was like reading the same story in a different way. There's a lot of stuff that's in the book that wasn't in the movie, and I have quite a big list, and I'll just kind of go through it. And then before I do that, I'll talk about the 5 different film adaptations, and then I'll get into the differences. So there's 2 American silent films that were about the Wizard of Oz. One was in 1910 and one was in 1925.
Okay, so before.
The one in 1910 actually has like a little 10-minute clip of it, and it's fucking weird. It is so weird. I was going to show it, but I kind of like forgot, honestly. But it also is just kind of like too weird. You just have to think about like, it's just super weird. Then the one in 1925, I didn't see anything. 1933, there was one. It's a Canadian animated short directed by Ted Eschbau, and I couldn't find anything on that as well. That was all 3 before this one came out, which is wild.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the one in 1939, the American MGM film with Judy Garland. The most interesting one that I found was in 1982, there was one called The Wizard of Oz, and it was a Japanese anime feature film. And it was released in Russia or some other place and dubbed in Russian, and then eventually it was made its way to America. So I'm going to show you the podcast, the quick clip of it. And I'm actually really excited to show this. Okay, this is the wrong clip, but let me get that for you. It's a quick one, and it just kind of shows like, oh, how kind of low-key trippy. Oh, no, wait, do I have it? Oh, wait, here it is. Oh, this is not the clip. This is the full thing. Can you hear it? Can you see it?
It's all true. All my dreams are here for me to
So as you can see, this is in Kansas.
no one else believe what I dream
I'll skip through
come
it.
true.
That's Dorothy, obviously.
Up to you.
Aren't you the prettiest?
This is the part I wanted to show exactly right here. It's very trippy. It's very different. But you get the idea. So yeah, there was a.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. I had to stop streaming that. So my bad.
I would have much rather watched that version. It looked amazing.
You should check it out.
So is it originally dubbed or did they dub over it? Is it supposed to be subtitles, right?
I'm not too sure.
I want to see the original audio. If it's, I like when it's subtitled more than when they dub it with English.
From what I read, it was like very obscure, and like I don't think that it was subtitled. I think it was just dubbed. Like I don't know. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. I don't know.
We might have to watch. Did you watch the whole thing? Is it?
No,
long?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I have the whole thing though.
How long is it?
It's an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what? We might have to do a follow up because that looks interesting.
Yeah. So that's cool.
I
right?
like the way it looks. Yeah. Send that to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Or like send me the link or whatever for it. That's fucking
so
cool.
I thought that
does
wild.
look cool.
Yeah.
That dude that looked like that little like 20-second clip was better than that whole movie. the original movie, dude.
You're gonna fucking hate saying this when fucking like Judy Garland's daughter writes us and says, "Hey, I really liked one of your guys' opinions of the podcast." That other guy with the beard. Oh,
he didn't know what he was talking about. What an idiot.
Here's a check, Miguel or Mikey.
Watch movies much? No disrespect to Judy Garland, though.
Obviously, I'm totally joking.
Because I looked into Judy too, and I was like, dude, it's so fucked up what they like did to Judy, you know?
I have so much.
But that's why MGM, they're the ones who wrote the movie, so the movie sucks, you know? The actors, I feel for all the actors in the movie. Mm-hmm. After I read like about the actors, I was like, damn, like all these actors like sound like they got fucked in one way or another, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know we're gonna get into that. Yeah. So did you have anything else to say about the alternate like media, the other forms?
All I have next is the differences that were in the book that aren't in the movie. That's all.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, and then
for sure. So the first thing I have here is the storyline of the characters who work on the ranch and end up being the Lion, Tin Man, and Scarecrow. They're not in the book at all. I already said this though. I already said that part. And that it's only Uncle Henry, Dorothy, and Toto in the beginning, even right up until the tornado. So I don't even think that there's any sort of like a correlation between, how, there's no correlation there. The Lion, Tin Man, and Scarecrow are just in this fantasy world. 2, Dorothy's adventures in the book last much longer and take her and her friends to more places in Oz where they meet many interesting characters. I didn't get too far into the book, but there was a couple already that I that were interesting. There was a dancing munchkin named Bach, and he had a munchkin baby that Dorothy spent the night at their house, and Dorothy and Toto did, and Toto ended up playing with the baby. And the baby was fucking with Toto and pulling his tail and shit. I thought that was kind of cool. Toto. Wait. Or yeah. The baby was fucking with Toto pulling his tail.
Hey, bro, did you get something on? What the fuck? That was weird. The stream's still going, right, on your end?
Nope.
I got it. It stopped
of my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I mean the stream, what we're doing still, because I got a thing from Discord that said. How did your stream go?
No, it's because you
was that for the TV or for when you showed?
Yeah,
the
that's
video?
when you shared your stream. It's probably.
I thought it was saying that this was stopped. My bad.
No. You're good. You're good. All good. Yeah. But yeah, so I thought that little part with the Toto was kind of funny.
Yeah.
3, Dorothy is in the tornado for hours. She's in the tornado for so long she ends up falling asleep, And then she like slowly wakes up to, or no, she quickly wakes up to like a sudden shock that the room is no longer moving, and then the sun is shining in through the windows of the room. So she's like in the room, like kind of like for a while with Toto in the book, and like telling him like, I don't know what we're gonna do, when this is gonna end. She's all thinking that she's gonna die when the house eventually hits the ground. So that was kind of a wild like visual. Being in this house or this room that's spinning in a tornado for hours,
Fuck yeah, that'd be scary.
Dorothy's shoes are silver and not ruby red. This is an interesting one. There's 4 witches in the book. The east and west are evil, and the north and south are good.
I think that's where Wicked's about, those 4 witches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It says Glinda in the books is the good witch of the south, not the north, like in the movie. In the books, there's also a good witch of the north named Lacosta or Tadipu, but she is not really discussed in detail. So that's kind of interesting. That'd be a trippy ass like HBO series to watch. You know what I'm saying? Like something like
about the witches.
That'd be kind of dope. Like their backstory or something like that. Oz is divided by different regions where people dress in different colors. Toto doesn't like the Scarecrow at first and regularly growls at him. And this is the last one, and this is one of the most interesting ones. The Tin Man, his backstory. I wrote this whole little part and kind of summarized it, so I'm kind of proud of this. I think I did it okay. We'll see. The Tin Man, or in the book Tin Woodman, has a backstory in which he started as a human being. The Tin Man falls in love with a Munchkin girl. This Munchkin girl lived with an old woman who did not want her to marry. The old woman was lazy and wanted the Munchkin girl to continue to do her cleaning and housework. The old woman goes to the Wicked Witch of the East and promises her 2 sheep and a cow if she would prevent the marriage. The witch accepts and puts a curse on the axe the Tin Man uses, which causes him to accidentally chop off his own limbs while chopping wood. Starting with his legs, then his arms. Each time he chopped something off, a local tinsmith would give him a replacement limb made of tin. Eventually, he thought he had beaten the witch, because even after his head was chopped off, he was able to get a new one made of tin. But just as he thought he won again, the Wicked Witch chopped him completely in half and his heart fell out of his body, causing him to be unable to love the Munchkin girl. He wants to ask Oz for a heart so he can return to the Munchkin girl and marry her.
Damn. They should make a movie just about the Tin Man, bro.
Yeah, that would be dope, dude.
Let's throw it in a production. Like, we got to buy the rights to Tin Man.
Shit, that'd be dope.
That shit's crazy. That's pretty brutal. Yeah. Do any of the other? Oh, you haven't finished it. I was gonna say, do any of the other characters have a story?
I was reading about the lion had just got introduced before I could get into his backstory, but the Scarecrow has one, and it's not as interesting, but it's kind of interesting. He has this like memory of basically they gave me an eye and I was able to see out of it and I learned how to see, and then they gave me ears and I was able to hear, or no, I think they gave him ears first, and he's like, they gave me ears and I was able to hear them talking. Then they gave me an eye, I was able to see them. Then they gave me 2 eyes and I was able to see out of 2 eyes, and I learned how to. And then they gave me a mouth, but I didn't know how to talk yet. And he just remembers these 2 guys like putting him up and saying that he looks like he'll work, and then they walk away and he tries to walk away with them, but he can't because there's a huge stick in his back. And he's like, and then a few minutes later you walked up. Can you please help me get this stick out of my back? And then that's it. But yeah.
That was a good Scarecrow right there, bro.
Yeah.
When you delivered that line right now, I was like, oh shit.
It's really him.
Yeah.
Oh shit! All right. So the next part I have is about the production and the filming aspect of it. So if you have anything you want to add,
I feel like we should do the Pink Floyd part. Talk about that, just because I feel like the MGM and the production and everything behind it is probably the most interesting part about this podcast.
And the Pink
Maybe
Floyd,
save it for the end. I think it's more interesting than the Pink Floyd. No, I think the Pink Floyd is
the production and filming part. This is not about MGM at all. That's another section. This is
okay. Go ahead.
How the film became a thing. It's kind of like a scripted thing, but it's super interesting.
Okay, yeah.
I'll Power drive through it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll do.
It's just good information to have. Yeah, we'll like dare forward through it.
Dare forward.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Dang, Dana. I call you Dana.
Hit me up, Dana. Come through. All right.
Hello.
where we at? Oh yeah, so this is about the production and the filming of it. I got a lot of key points from different articles and Wikipedia and stuff like that. So this is not all written by me. I did summarize a little bit of it, change a couple things here and there, but this kind of goes into what I felt were the key points. So production on the film began when Walt Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs showed that films adapted from popular children's stories and fairy tale folklore could still be successful. In January 1938, MGM bought the rights to L. Frank Baum's hugely popular novel from Samuel Goldwyn. The script went through several writers and revisions before the final shooting. Marvin LeRoy's assistant, William H. Cannon, had submitted a brief 4-page outline. Because recent fantasy films had not fared well, he recommended toning down or removing magical elements of the story. In his outline, the Scarecrow was a man so stupid that the only employment open to him was literally scaring crows from cornfields, while the Tin Woodman was a criminal so heartless he was sentenced to be placed in a tin suit for eternity, torture that softened him into somebody gentler and kinder. His vision was similar to Larry Seaman's 1925 film adaptation of the story in which the magical elements are absent. Dope ass fucking concept. Could do amazing today too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just one part. Afterward, Leroy hired screenwriter Herman J. Mankiewicz, who soon delivered a 17-page draft of the Kansas scenes and a few weeks later a further 56 pages. He also hired Noel Langley and poet Ogden Nash to write separate versions of the story. None of these three knew about the others, and this was not an uncommon procedure. Dozens of people all had input in what became the final script that was turned in on October 8th, 1938. All in all, it was a mismatch of many creative minds, literally dozens, dude. It was kind of like complicated. But Langley, Ryerson, and Wolfe got the film credits. This is all with the writing. This is not even talking about directing and casting yet. This is like, it was like dozens and dozens of people involved in this movie.
Dude, I bet these blockbuster movies, it's just like fucking rats.
It's probably like that all the time. Oh, yeah.
I was going to say like fucking pop stars too, like in music, like they have a room full of writers, like, so that's imagine these fucking movies, like, I mean, I bet you some of them, because like,
I would think that I always thought that it would be like, if I'm writing a movie, I want to write the whole fucking thing. I don't really want that much people involved in it. I want it to be my vision. But I don't know. Probably when money gets involved, it becomes a different thing.
Yeah, and I bet you some of those directors who are big as fuck, like Quentin Tarantino, they have like full control, which is different, Yeah. But yeah, I bet you if they don't know you, and especially if you're making a blockbuster film, they're probably like, nah, you need to do it exactly the way we want, Yeah.
The original producers thought that a 1939 audience was too sophisticated to accept Oz as a straight-ahead fantasy. Therefore, it was reconceived as a lengthy, elaborate dream sequence, which is interesting. Because of a perceived need to attract a youthful audience through appealing to modern fads and styles, the score had featured a song called The Jitterbug, and the script had featured a scene with a series of musical contests. The Jitterbug scene is actually, I seen it. I don't have it ready, but it's an actual like deleted scene, which is kind of interesting. And the song, I could see it actually fitting well in the movie, which is wild. But
it's not a jitterbug.
No, ooh, that's a banger though.
Boom, boom into my love. Yeah.
No. Yeah, that's a banger, man. I gotta fucking play that soon. Where are we at? Okay, almost done here. A spoiled, selfish princess in Oz had outlawed. Okay, this is another deleted part. A spoiled, selfish princess in Oz had outlawed all forms of music except classical and operetta, and went up against Dorothy in a singing contest, in which her swing style enchanted listeners and won the grand prize. This part was initially written for Betty Janes. The plan was later dropped. Another scene, which was removed before final script approval and never filmed, was an epilogue scene back in Kansas after Dorothy's return. Hunk, the Kansas counterpart to the Scarecrow, is leaving for an agriculture college and extracts a promise from Dorothy to write to him. The scene implies that romance will eventually develop between the two, which also may have been intended as an explanation for Dorothy's partiality for the Scarecrow over her other two companions. This plot idea was never totally dropped, but is especially noticeable in the final script when Dorothy, just before she is to leave Oz, tells the Scarecrow, "I think I'll miss you most of all." So there's like an underlying romantic aspect there.
But that fool was old too, right? Yeah. And she's like 16. Weird. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's fucking weird.
That is weird.
Much attention was given to the use of color in the production, with the MGM production crew favoring some hues over others. It took the studio's art department almost a week to settle on the shade of yellow used for the Yellow Brick Road. Several actresses were reportedly considered for the part of Dorothy, including Shirley Temple, at the time the most prominent child star Deanna Durbin, a relative newcomer with a recognized operatic voice, and Judy Garland, the most experienced of the three. Officially, the decision to cast Garland was attributed to contractual issues. So she only got the part because of contract shit. That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
We could get into the casting and directing stories of how many different people were shuffled in and out of roles due to different reasons, but it's a bit confusing and unimportant. There are a couple key moments, though. Buddy Epson was originally supposed to play the Tin Man and did film a few shots. Although 10 days into the shoot, Epson suffered a reaction to the aluminum powder makeup he wore. He was hospitalized in critical condition and subsequently was forced to leave the project. Jack Haley simply assumed he'd been fired and knew nothing about why. The makeup used for Haley was quietly changed to an aluminum paste.
Yeah, well, do you know, so just to add to that, because I was reading about that, that actually when they were using the aluminum dust, it actually got in, what was his name, Buddy Epson?
Epson, yeah, the first guy? Yep.
Yeah, that the dust got into his lungs because he was like breathing it in, the aluminum. And then the second guy, the Alex Haley, they actually, they still used the dust, but they mixed it in the paint. And they said he ended up getting a reaction on his eye because he didn't know about it. But they said it was treated, though. Like, he was able to treat his, but instead of using the dust, they mixed it in. But they still used it and just mixed it into the actual makeup.
Oh, yeah. Instead of powder, they used aluminum paste. Instead of aluminum powder, they used aluminum paste.
Yeah, and it said that it still like gave him like
eye infection. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, there's a couple more things like that. I don't know if you're getting into those.
I have one more. The one about the original director. Oh, you mean like like things where they get fucked up? I have a couple. Yeah, on that. But this is what talks about the directors and kind of how they got switched in and out. The original director was Richard Thorpe. Thorpe shot about 9 days total worth of footage and was fired by the film's main producer, Mervyn LeRoy, because he felt he was rushing the production too much. He thought he was rushing it and causing the actors not to be able to act right, and just kind of bad vibes is what I got. Thorpe was replaced by George Cukor, who was still under Thorpe's supervision, which is kind of weird. Cukor did not actually shoot any scenes for the film, merely acting as something of a creative advisor to the troubled production. He eventually left due to commitments to the movie that beat The Wizard of Oz for Best Motion Picture at the Academy Awards the following year, Gone with the Wind. Victor Fleming assumed directorial responsibility after that and has credit to this day. So it was like four different people who were directors on this movie.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I think there was somebody else who helped out at the very end. I think his name was like King or some shit like that. But he didn't take any responsibility till later because I think Victor Fleming died, and they were like homies. So he didn't want to talk about his input because I guess he had a lot of it. Like,
he didn't want to take away from it.
Yeah. So I have more as far as like other stuff, but. What did you want to mention? Tell me. I can, even if I mentioned it already. If you have to talk,
I would just because you were talking about the makeup and how happened also with the Wicked Witch, because there was because for the green paint there's copper in the paint, and like it gave her like they said like kind of scarring a little bit, but I guess hers cleared up. But then also the fucking Scarecrow too. He had like burlap. They said like scars. Because he said that shit was so hot that you couldn't breathe and it didn't give your skin. And he had it on for so long every day. And because of the lights that he said that when he finally was done, that he took it off and like he had scars everywhere. And he said even to this day, like I think he still has like little scarring.
That's perfect because that's literally what I have next is just talking about how hard it was for them on set and how hot it was and the costumes and shit.
The lion tripped me out too. They said the lion was made from actual lion hair. Yeah, because dude, I was like, that's fucked up. So they went and killed a lion just. You could tell
if you look at because I was watching it because after knowing all these little parts, I watched it this morning and like I was noticed so much. I'm like, holy fuck, man. Yeah, it's like even in Judy Garland singing. I know it's kind of like off topic, but holy shit, just to see her like make this acting and singing, this acting face of just feeling sad and alone. Like I was like, oh, she actually was sad and alone, and we're gonna get into that. Right? But
Yeah.
holy fuck, it just you could see it through her, and I think that's a big part of why the movie did so well because her just amazing talent and her like actual. She was being herself in a lot of these moments, and it's kind of wild. But so let me get in. Production on the bulk of the Technicolor sequences was a long and exhausting process that ran over 6 months, from October 1938 to March 1939. Most of the cast worked 6 days a week and had to arrive as early as 4 a.m. to be fitted with makeup and costumes, and often did not leave until 7 p.m. or later. Cumbersome makeup and costumes were made even more uncomfortable by the daylight bright lighting the early Technicolor process required, which could heat the set to over 100 degrees. It took as many as 12 takes to have Toto run alongside the actors as they skipped down the yellow brick road. Bolger later said that the frightening nature of the costumes prevented most of the Oz principals from eating in the studio commissary. The toxicity of the toxicity. One more line. The toxicity of Hamilton's or the Wicked Witch of the West copper-based makeup forced her to eat a liquid diet on shoot days.
For who? Was that Judy Garland?
No, for
the witch.
The Wicked Witch of the West with
Oh,
the
okay.
green makeup. It said that she couldn't even eat food. She had to eat a liquid diet when she had that makeup on for some reason.
That's crazy. Probably, yeah. That's wild, dude. Yeah. They also, if we're getting into that, the witch, besides the fucking paint, they also fucking caught her on fire in that scene with the red smoke. You know where she disappears.
Yeah.
They it went up too quickly, and it caught the broom on fire, and then caught her on fire, and then she was out for like a while from shooting,
3 months. Yeah.
3 months, yeah. And then they used the stunt double, who also fucking caught on fire, and the stunt double they said only, the stunt double was doing a broomstick scene, and I guess there was something in the stick or something around, but it blew up, and she caught on fire the same way, and she burned her legs really bad, and she only got paid. Let me see, I have it written down right here. Where is this shit? Yeah, it says she only got paid $35 for the stunt work she was doing. Dude, that's another thing. I don't know if you talk about that, about their pay.
Yeah, I have a little part. I mean, once I get into the Judy Garland shit, I have a little
cool
part.
All right. Yeah, that shit was fucked with me. I was like, oh shit, like that's crazy.
There's actually this little part I have here too about the Munchkins, and it kind of like starts to get into the Judy Garland shit too. It's kind of like a good, and it has a little bit about pay too. But do you have anything else?
I don't want to go into. I'm pretty sure you're probably going to go into a lot of it. It seems like you've done a lot more research than me. I have stuff about Judy Garland actually after this. So yeah, no, we could go on. Oh, I guess one thing to note, just because I don't want to give her no name. The stunt double for the Wicked Witch, her name was Betty Danko, and she's the girl who caught on fire. She spent 11 days in the hospital, and she was only allegedly paid $35 for the work she did. And she stepped in for what was I don't think we said the Wicked Witch's name either. What is it? Margaret
Hamilton.
Margaret
Is it Hamilton?
Hamilton.
Yeah, Margaret Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yep, it is.
Cool. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, we already talked about the asbestos too, right?
Which one?
The asbestos that they dropped on Dorothy.
I didn't mention that.
Asbestos.
No,
Yeah, well, because you mentioned the snow scene, and in that snow scene, I read it was crystallized asbestos, which is known to cause cancer and shit. And they drench her in it, And I wonder how many times they did that scene where she was laying there just I read that they used to do that in older movies too. They said in like the 20s, 30s, like Christmas movies, they would use the same for snow. I was like, damn, that's crazy. But I mean, I guess they probably didn't know then.
I hope so. But who knows?
Yeah, but who knows, dude? Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, go ahead with what you were saying. My bad.
It's all good. An extensive talent search produced over 100 little people to play Munchkins. About a dozen children of average height were also hired so they could be used for background fill.
Wait. Yeah, I wasn't tripping then. There were kids in there, right?
There were kids in there. Yes, yeah, there were.
Okay,
kids.
When I was watching, I was thinking, are these little people or are these kids? I was like, some of them look okay.
One of them, the one who gives her a lollipop, I think he's a kid. I think that's Jerry Marin, who actually I have a little bit on right now. According to Munchkin actor Jerry Marin, the little people were each paid over $125 a week. equivalent to $2,300 a day. Although this is disputed, and I have another part where I don't know if I trust Jerry Marin. We'll get into that. Mindheart Rob had to design over 100 costumes for the Munchkin sequences. They then had to photograph and catalog each Munchkin in his or her costume so that they could correctly apply the same costume and makeup each day of production. In a 1967 interview, Judy Garland referred to all the Munchkins as little drunks who got intoxicated every night to the point where they had to be picked up in butterfly nets. Her ex-husband,
I've read about that.
her ex-husband also wrote in a book that they would make Judy's life miserable on set by putting their hands under her dress.
So I read that, and I read that that's contested though
By Jerry Marin. Yeah.
I also
And
read
one
though
other
that
person.
yeah, I thought from what I heard that they said that she was that from them though, that they were saying that she was actually super sweet to them and all that, because that's what I had heard. I heard that she did say they were drunks and all that, but that not all of them. That she was like, it was only like a handful of them. You know?
Yes. Yep. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah. She only said the part about little drunks. The part about
and then it was her husband.
The hands
who
up the
said
dress
that.
is something that he wrote in his book. But
because I had read that some people debated that. Like, did that really happen, or did he put that in there to sell books?
Yep.
You know, about his ex-wife.
And I talk about that. I have a whole little part right there on that too.
Okay, cool.
It's fucking, so that's a great, crazy part. Now that we get to Judy Garland, dude, holy fucking shit, man. It is such a sad story. And the more I researched it, the more I was just like key point after key point of just horrible shit that happened to her. And I have a whole thing like that I have of it. And did you do research on her? And like, what did you get out of
So
it?
I did a little bit. I got like, you know, that her mom had started giving her fucking pills when she was like 10, you know, and then obviously the studio. I mean, I had read that about MGM after though, that they were doing that to all their actors and actresses, getting them, because I had heard that before. Like the contracts back then were almost like just like
they owned you.
Belonged, you belong to the company. Like you are their property. They tell you to lose weight, you need to lose weight. If they tell you to do this, you need to do it. Yeah, and it's like so I was reading that, dude. But the thing that tripped me out the most, that it was, I mean, not even the most, but it was fucking sad, is that, dude, even though she's the main star in that movie, she was the second lowest paid actor on set, and the first lowest paid actor was fucking Toto the dog.
Well,
I was like, dude, she only got paid more than Toto. And then, I mean, I know she got paid more than the doubles, but as far as main actors go, like, I was like, dude, that's ridiculous. Like, how's the dog?
She was, I also have something that says that the Munchkins were actually paid less than the Toto was.
I heard they were paid less too, like all the extras, but I heard main actor wise, like
for sure,
she was paid the least, you know, even though she's literally in every fucking scene in the movie, you know.
It's fucking
the only person that's in every scene in the movie. So it's like,
she's the
dude.
movie. She's the fucking movie.
She is the movie.
It's fucking wild, bro. She's so talented. You could see it in the way she sings. You can hear it, that she fucking sings from her gut. Like, she was amazing, bro. There's this movie called Judy that came out a couple years ago, and where
I wanted to see that.
Plays her.
Is it good?
I have it downloaded. I'm gonna probably watch it today. But
I heard it was. I heard it was good.
I heard it was good too.
I wanted to check it out. Yeah, it's probably sad as fuck.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so I'll get into this shit that I wrote. I have quite a bit here, bro.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
I'll try to read it like naturally, so it's not like bland. But Judy Garland, real name Frances Ethel Gum, was born June 10th, 1922. She had a career spanning over 45 years and attained international stardom in both musicals and dramatic roles, as well as concerts and being a recording artist. She began performing in vaudeville as a child with her two older sisters and was later signed to MGM as a teenager. I guess vaudeville is a theatrical genre of variety entertainment born in France at the end of the 19th century. Vaudeville was originally a comedy without psychological or moral intentions, based on a comical situation, a dramatic composition or light poetry, interspersed with songs or ballets. It became popular in the United States and Canada from early 1880s until the early 1930s. Pretty wild and weird. I never even heard of that.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't really know much about it, but I've heard the word. I've heard the term before. Vaudeville.
It made me think about like how fucking weird people were. Like the way that we entertained each other back then. We're just like all dressed up in like costumes and just like weird like silent films. Like people were entertained by just like things moving
Dude.
quickly in front of them. We were just so
Look at like the Greek comedy and like
Yeah.
drama and tragedy. Like if you actually read those books, like you probably heard of some of them. Like we talked about it in the Father John one. The dude who murders his own dad and marries his mom. Oedipus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you know, these were like popular plays back in the day. So like these are what people went to go see, like plays about, you know, like it's pretty fucking yeah, dude. People are weird as fuck. I mean, we still are, you know, like I'm super interested in like watching fucking weird shit.
No, yeah, it's we're not anything better, and people.
We used to watch the Pain Olympics all the time, but dude, we should do the Pain Olympics.
Oh my god,
not do it.
Do some ultimate reaction videos. Oh my god, Jesus Christ, we'll do a 2 Girls 1 Cup episode, bro.
So when the battery went in the penis, I noticed
he was really going for it. I believed him.
And the way he twisted it, you know, if you actually do that, it is easier to get it in there.
I don't know if you know about the history of batteries inside of penises, but
yeah.
All right, now let's get back to this depressing Judy Garland shit.
My bad.
No, you're good. Let's see where we are. Garland struggled in her personal. This is kind of like an overview of her life, and then I have a lot of key points with a lot of things that are even deeper that I've actually researched and like made sure that I got sources on that weren't bullshit. There might be some that are like could be contested, but I'll bring it up. So here's a quick overview, and then we'll get into like deeper shit. Garland struggled in her personal life from an early age. The pressures of early, and this is kind of like a peachy clean kind of way of putting it. Sort of. The pressures of early stardom affected her physical and mental health from the time she was a teenager. Her self-image was influenced by constant criticism from film executives who believed that she was physically unattractive and who manipulated her on-screen physical appearance. Throughout her adulthood, she was plagued by alcohol and substance use disorder, as well as financial instability, often owing hundreds of thousands of dollars in back taxes. This sounds actually all like bullshit the more I read it. Her lifelong struggle with substance abuse has nothing to do with her parents or nothing. Her mom was abusive and controlling since she was 8 or 9 years old. She got her addicted to amphetamines and barbiturates at 8 or 9 years old. Her mother didn't want a third child, and she tried to abort her, but was unsuccessful. Her father was a secret homosexual, and when the people in their town found out, they were told they needed to leave. So they left from, I forget where, and they went to Lancaster, California, I believe it is. Go ahead.
No, go. Keep going. My bad.
Her mother got her addicted to drugs around 8 or 9 years old, from amphetamines to keep her up and going, and barbiturates to make her go to sleep. Eventually, the studio executives would do the same. She believed her mother would trade sex for favors with producers and studio executives. She was told she was ugly and given horrible nicknames about her appearance, like Hunchback, by studio executives.
She was also reportedly, that's what I was going to say, but I knew you were probably going to touch on that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you got this one too. They reportedly would, the studio executives at MGM would talk about her as the fat little pig with pigtails.
Damn,
was what they would call her. Yeah, because they talked a lot about her weight and how they said she was too chunky to be like a real star, that she needed to lose weight. And because she was so short that she really didn't weigh that much, it was just she was shorter. And like even in the movie, she's not fucking fat at all, not even fucking close, you know. But like at the time, like compared to other actresses, they were like, "Oh, you need to lose weight." Yeah. They also, the Louis B. Mayer, who you're going to talk about, they said had her on a diet of during the filming and probably after too. They had her on a diet of chicken soup, black coffee, cigarettes, and then pills to reduce the appetite. Yep. And I was like, dude, like what the fuck, dude? Like
her body, if she was, I don't know, whatever. That shit is fucking crazy and fucking psychotic. The way everything I was reading about all these fucking studio executives, how they treated these child actors, they were all fucking tortured. Even now, up until now, they're still them alive now. Fucking Amanda Bynes, Britney Spears, they are fucking tortured, and we sit here and we laugh at them and we play with them and we dance to them, but they are fucking literally almost like sacrificial human beings to our entertainment, and we don't even understand it.
Back in the day, like when the Britney thing happened, you know, like I feel like we all laughed about it, but now like being older, like with like shit like that, dude. Yeah, when I see shit like that, like people like will talk shit like, "Oh, Amanda Bynes really lost, or that person really lost," and I was like, "Yeah, but like, yeah, I'd probably fucking lose it too." Imagine what they're doing, and especially being like I feel like anybody it's hard, but being like a woman in that business too, like, and like, you know, like that pressure they put on you for not just like, not for everything else, but like for the way you look, for the way you eat, for the way you are, for the way you act, for your life, you know, like if you're a man, you're not that it's not stressful, but you're a lot more likely to be able to do a lot of these fucking things.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, at that time, there was probably no rules at all. It was like wild, wild west.
Yep.
And, you know, even now, like you said, even now with all these rules and whatever rules there are set in place, it's still fucking rampant, you know, like, so like, I can't even, it's like what we talked about with the whole police and things like before cameras. I can't even imagine what was happening back then, you know,
Dude,
like just reading this about Judy, you know, and she's just one of them, you know, she's just like one. So, you know, she wasn't the only one.
And she was also one of the only ones, according to the minimum, I guess, amount of research I did. It seemed as though when shit got real, as far as like sexual assault type shit, when there were 2 studio executives. So this is the part that she was sexually assaulted by at least 2 different studio executives. One she names as Louis B. Mayer, and the other is not named. This is an excerpt from Gerald Clark's book, Get Happy, The Life of Judy Garland. Gerald Clark was on this 2020, and he seems like a legit guy. He did a complete biography on her. He found a biography she was working on herself, transcripts and audio tapes that she was working on her own before she died. And he talks about it in this book. And this is the part from his book where she speaks on the studio executives and how they were trying to. This talks about the drugs and stuff. Wait, where is it at? No, yeah. Wait, where are we at? All right. This is talking about Louis B. Mayer. I'm sorry. And then I'll talk about the drug stuff after. Actually, let me talk about the drug stuff first, and then I'll get into the Louis B. Mayer stuff, because the drug part we already talked about. She wrote, this is something she said. They'd give us pet pills, she wrote. Then they'd take us to the studio hospital and knock us cold with sleeping pills. After 4 hours, they'd wake us up and give us the pet pills again. That's the way we worked, and that's the way we got thin. That's the way we got mixed up, and that's the way we lost contact. That was her talking about child actors and drugs and stuff like that. So that's in her own words. That's just, you know. Yeah.
It's crazy.
She sounds crazy talking about that. That's when we lost contact. Like, maybe I'm sure she's just talking about like we lost contact, whatever. Anyways, this is this excerpt from the book. It started around the time Garland was playing Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. She was 16. Having sex with the female help was regarded as a perk of power, and few women escaped the demands of Mayer, or Louis B. Mayer, and his underlings. Clark wrote in Get Happy, The Life of Judy Garland, painting a stomach-turning portrait of the abuse. Between the ages of 16 and 20, Judy herself was to be approached for sex, and approached again and again. Don't think they all didn't try, she said. Top on the list was Mayer himself. Whenever he complimented her on her voice, she sang from the heart, he said. Mayer would invariably place his hand on her left breast to show just where her heart was. I often thought I was lucky, observed Judy, that I didn't sing with another part of my anatomy. That scenario, a compliment followed by a grope, was repeated many times until, grown up at last, Judy put a stop to it. Mr. Mayer, don't you ever do that again. She finally had the courage to say it. I just will not stand for it. How did Mayer react? He cried. How can you say that to me who loves you? He asked Garland, who described her scorn for him decades later in her unpublished memoir, writing that it's amazing how these big men who had been around so many sophisticated women all their lives could act like idiots. If Mayer was the most persistent, he was not the most vile, Clark writes. Another executive, Judy did not identify him, summoned her to his office, as he had summoned so many others, more glamorous metro stars. Eschewing any pretense of small talk, he demanded that she, too, have sex with him. Yes or no, right now, that was his style. Judy recalled, when she refused, he began screaming. Listen, you, before you go, I want to tell you something. I'll ruin you, and I can do it. I'll break you if it's the last thing I do. So that's her own words talking about her actual sexual abuse and how it got to a point where she was like, fuck you, I ain't doing it no more. And it seems like that's when, you know, her career kind of started going down the line, because she wasn't, you know, everything kind of started fucking up, I think, going downhill after that.
Yeah, because she wasn't like playing. You know, that's probably why she ended up with all the back taxes and all that shit too.
Well, she
But
got
no,
she ended up with all the back taxes because they fucked her. They fucking
in her contract.
robbed her. I have a. I'll even keep going. Do you have anything?
Nah, man. It just trips me out that like her story is literally the exact same story that we were hearing like 2 years ago from like all these people. You know, it's just crazy that nothing has changed at all.
Yep.
And you know, like it's always like these big dudes, dude, like MGM, and I don't know. The whole thing. I know we're gonna talk about it. I'll just you go on. Okay. Go ahead.
Where are we at? Okay. At 20, she was married to David Rose and got pregnant. She was happy about it, but others knew this would have been a huge issue for her career. I want to show you a video real quick. Where's the video? I need to be able to get this up quick. There we are. There we are. There we are.
Though written in the third person, these are Judy Garland's words.
"Where are we going?" "Never mind," said Mother, "you'll see." They drove for about a half hour and pulled up in front of a dreary little establishment outside of town. Her mother took Judy by the hand, led her inside to a shabby little office. In a few minutes, David, her mother, and MGM were satisfied.
The mom took her to get an abortion.
Yeah.
Made her get an abortion.
The studio made her as well. Yeah, I think
it's so crazy how they just like own them. It's dude, it makes me think of I mean, I know that's actually what it's based off of. You've seen The Godfather, right?
I think so, yes, but I couldn't break it down. I haven't really.
What? What? It's amazing. Okay, there's a part though where they cut off the horse's head and they put it in a studio executive's bed. And like the studio executive is, I don't know if he's supposed to be Louis B. Mayer, but it's supposed to be like the head of MGM and all that. Cause like at the time, like they're trying to get, I think one of their cousins or family members are trying to get him. He's a singer out of the contract with them. And like, they won't let him go. They're like, nah, he belongs to us. But you know, they're the mafia. So
I
like,
do have a bit of a memory of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, that makes me think of it like, you know, back then, like literally that's how they acted. Like the MGM acted like a gang too. They probably still do. Like, you know, like we own this, we run you.
Yeah, it's
you
fucking
owe us,
wild,
you know.
I started falling down a rabbit hole that got very scary because I started getting into what I found were like I had to really research it, but I started seeing that there was this girl. And I knew I was going to end up wanting to bring this up. I should have just had it ready to go, but I have it right here. There's an article in the Hollywood Reporter called How a Hollywood Studio Got Away with Rape in 1937. It's a story of Patricia Douglas, whose case was dismissed. Basically, it just talks about how I don't really know the story. I can't really get into it because I just didn't want to get lost in it. But it seems like there was an executive with MGM who like raped this girl, and somehow there was like cover-ups and people who were trying to cover it up and shit, and a lot of people who were involved. As I was reading it, I read this. There's a little highlighted part here that says, what evidence supports her claim? And it says, the children of the parking attendant who saw her trying to escape admitted that he had perjured himself to say that he didn't see anything. And there was a 3-page letter I found from publisher William Randolph Hearst to Louis B. Mayer saying, shut this down, make her stop. Do you realize how damaging this is to the whole movie picture industry? That's fucking wild, bruh. William Randolph Hearst, the person who conspired to get rid of cannabis and outlaw cannabis, was connected to Louis B. Mayer. And they were basically... There was like basically this whole situation started because there was like I think like this party or convention that they had, and they had a bunch of underage girls there ready for all these big studio heads or whatever the fuck happened.
Just like they still do.
And it's fucking yeah. So, and this is when William Randolph Hearst, bro. I learned about that guy when I did the history of marijuana documentary. Like, and he's connected to it's just so wild. It just tripped me the fuck out. And I started going and trying to find these letters, and I started finding more about fucking shit. And you know what's wild? When I looked up Louis B. Mayer, there was nothing on his Wikipedia about anything.
Really?
Yes, nothing about any sort of controversial
Crazy.
shit. So
That's crazy.
yeah, it's fucking crazy, man. It's like, you guys want to talk about Me Too? Do some fucking historic research and see that, you know, there's fucking millions and millions of dollars that's been funneled into this country and into the studio and into Hollywood and into the fucking everything that's been like, it's been there forever. And it's like, I'm not saying that it's any sort of like, that's okay. I'm just saying like, fuck, man. It's just like, let's fucking end this shit already. Let's take care of these pieces of shit. But like, fuck, we gotta keep going too.
It's like it's crazy though, because it's like the whole fucking system, you know?
Yeah, everything. It's so fucking like, it's crazy. It's like Me Too. They have a fucking point. It's just like,
dude, you know what's crazy, dude? I just looked this up right now just because you were talking about like sexual assault too and the rape and like, you know, how prominent it was. Dude, there's a movie called The Last Tango in Paris. Have you ever heard of it?
I don't think so.
Super famous movie. I think it even won awards when it came out. Super famous. Marlon Brando's in it though, who you've heard of Marlon Brando, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So there's a scene, I've never seen it, but I guess there's a scene where he like has sex with this chick and like he uses butter as like a lubricant. But the director and him didn't tell the girl about the scene, that it was like a rape scene, but they didn't tell her it was going to be that. And they already knew though before that it was going to be that. So in the scene, the director didn't want to tell her what was going to happen because he wanted it to be more legit. So pretty much the scene in the movie that's in a very, very popular movie is a rape scene where this dude is actually raping her because she did not know that that's what the scene was going to consist of. And the director wanted it that way. So it would be more like he can get her more real reaction. So I'm like, dude, that's like, what the fuck? So like, and dude, neither of these fools are ever like, I don't really ever see like, there's
Marlon
articles
Brando
about
who
it.
did that? Who raped her?
Yeah. So there are things that say that Marlon Brando didn't know that she didn't know. But I mean, I don't know how much I believe of that, you know? Like, you know, just because I feel like people say that just because I mean, I don't know though. You know, I don't know much about
Marlon Brando was gay as fuck too, and like fucked a bunch of dudes, like powerful dudes.
Well, then maybe he didn't know that.
I heard he fucked Richard Pryor.
Oh, dude, I actually have heard that before. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, that's cool. So maybe he didn't do it. No, but no, I had heard that. I did hear that though, that there was a chance that he might not have known that she didn't know, you know, so he thought she was acting, but she had came out later and said, you know, she didn't fucking know about the scene and that, you know, pretty much it's pretty much a legit rape scene that they filmed, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy though, you know? And that movie though, I'm pretty sure that movie's not banned or anything anywhere and nothing ever came of it or happened to either of them. So it's just like, it's like if you could do that on film, like fuck, dude. Pretty much they can do whatever the fuck they want. You know what I mean? It's so crazy.
Back then, for sure. I don't think
even now. I mean, yeah. Now if it happened,
yeah.
I mean, fuck, dude. There's a lot of shit that people know are happening now. You still can't do anything about it.
I think with cameras and everything, the Me Too movement, all this shit, it's inevitably good for for humanity in general. We're catching a lot of bullshit, but we're also getting a little too overzealous sometimes. We're getting there's also a little bit of fucking bullshitters, you know, finding their way through.
Yeah, just like with everything.
With everything, it's a learning process, but it's going to be better for humanity because this shit, like I said, has been happening forever, and it's like, let's fucking figure it out the right way, though. That's what I like.
Yeah.
I don't want to like, people are so fucking emotional about things and they don't know the history of things. And it's like, if you don't know the history of things and you're emotional, you're going to fucking make it worse. Even though we want the right shit. If you're not educated and unemotional and you know history, it's going to make shit worse. So in her last year, she was very, to go back to Judy Garland. And I know that was a bad transition there. But in her last year, she was very resentful of many people because she had been stolen from, legit fucking robbed. She was virtually homeless many times throughout her career, in the beginning of her career and the later parts of her career. In her later years, her body started reacting very poorly to all the drugs, and it was showing in her appearance. Her hair started to fall out, and she got very skinny, and she was fired. Her studio found a doctor who actually prescribed shock treatments. There's a guy named David Beagleman, who I believe this was later in her career, legitimately fucking robbed her. He ended up, I believe, going to jail for like felony grand larceny for another situation. But there is an entire article here I have of how this man totally just fucked her. And it's so fucking like, it really pissed me off like reading it. It's only 3 paragraphs, so I'll get into that to it.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
In 1993, a book by Coyne Stephen Sanders, Rainbows and The Judy Garland Show, about the history of Judy Garland's CBS television series, The Judy Garland Show, devoted a chapter to possible embezzlement of Garland's funds by Beagleman. And I should mention, too, that this was only mentioned in this book and wasn't further corroborated by anything that I've seen, but is basically like kind of understood to be the case, but just was never like proven in court. There's just like documents that like show, but there was never like a case put forward. So there's no like facts because there's not, I don't know, it was not, you'll see. But Garland's estranged husband at the time, Sid Luft, hired an attorney to audit her income from the time Beagleman, wait, did I fuck something up? A chapter to pause. Okay. So Garland's estranged husband at this time, Sid Luft, hired an attorney to audit her income from the time Beagleman began representing her with fellow agent Freddie Fields. It was discovered that several $100,000 were missing, much of it written in checks to cash and endorsed by Beagleman at various casinos in Las Vegas. Other entries in her accounts showed large sums paid for protection with no authorization, all approved by Beagleman, though Garland had no personal security. In addition, a 1963 Cadillac convertible given to Garland as partial payment for appearances on Jack Parr's television program was titled to Beagleman. Garland never knew the car was part of her compensation for her appearance. In addition, Beagleman told Garland a photo existed of her partially nude, having her stomach pumped in a hospital emergency room after a drug overdose in London, and that blackmailers were demanding $50,000 to turn over the picture and all negatives. As she was in negotiations with CBS at the time for her new television series, Garland paid rather than face the adverse publicity and potentially damaging the deal's prospects. Luft's attorney eventually determined that the check went to a holding company with the business address in New York City owned by Beagleman and was further traced to a personal account of Beagleman. Rather than confront Beagleman at a time when he was playing such a pivotal role in her show business reemergence, Garland decided to eat the financial losses based upon the promise of millions coming from the deal with CBS. However, once her show was canceled, she and Luft sued Beagleman for the hundreds of thousands he had allegedly stolen, as well as $1 million in punitive damages. Due to her dire financial situation at the time, Garland was forced to settle the suit for royalties owed her by Capitol Records that Beagleman and Fields, as her agents, had collected but were holding because of the lawsuit. So, yeah, man, multiple people fucked her all the way back to, her deals with Capitol Records, her concerts and everything else. And she legitimately died fucking broke.
It's fucking sad, man.
It's so fucking sad, dude. This is making me sad, but like, I'll just pile drive through it. On June 22nd, 1969, Judy Garland's fifth and final husband, Mickey Deans, found her dead in the bathroom of their rented house in London. She was 47 years old. At the inquest, coroner Gavin Thurston stated that the cause of death was an unconscious self-overdosage of barbiturates. Thurston stressed that the overdose had been unintentional and no evidence suggested that she had died by suicide. Garland's autopsy showed no inflammation of her stomach lining and no drug residue in her stomach, which indicated that the drug had been ingested over a long period of time rather than in a single dose. Her death certificate stated that her death was accidental. Garland died 12 years after her 47th birthday. Her Wizard of Oz co-star Ray Bolger commented at her funeral, "She just plain wore out." Forensic pathologist Jason Payne James believed that Garland had an eating disorder. Psychologist Linda Papadopoulos, I totally fucked that up, asserted that it was likely bulimia, which contributed to her death. After Garland's body had been embalmed, Deans traveled with her remains to New York City, where an estimated 20,000 people lined up to pay their respects at the Frank E. Campbell Funeral Chapel in Manhattan, which remained open all night long to accommodate the overflowing crowd. She was interred in a crypt in a community mausoleum in Hartsdale, New York. Upon Garland's death, despite having earned millions during her career, her estate came to be only $40,000. Equivalent to $278,000 in 2019. Years of mismanagement of her financial affairs by her representatives and staff, along with her generosity towards her family and various causes, resulted in her poor financial situation at the end of her life. In her last will, signed and sealed in early 1961, Garland made generous bequests, which could not be fulfilled because her estate had been in debt for many years. Her daughter, Eliza Minnelli, worked to pay off her mother's debts with the help of family friend Frank Sinatra. In 1978, a selection of Garland's personal items were auctioned off by her ex-husband, Sidney Luft, with the support of their daughter, Lorna, and their son, Joe. Almost 500 items, ranging from copper cookware to musical arrangements, were offered for sale. The auction raised $250,000, equivalent to $979,000 in 2019, for her heirs. At the request of her children, Garland's remains were disinterred from Ferncliff Cemetery in January 2017 and reinterred to 2,800 miles across the country at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles. And that is the last note I have. And all I have is different key points about other things. But yeah, man, that took a lot. That fucking sucked.
No, we got to go visit her grave, man. The Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Nah, she's a G, dude. That's terrible what they did to her.
Mm-hmm.
But
it is.
It's fucking, it's crazy.
She was in the middle of like what seemed like kind of trying to fight back and get her money back. And,
when she died.
Unfortunately, she just couldn't make it through. Her daughter ended up doing like concerts where her mom, she sings along with her mom. Like her mom, they put on a screen and they do like Judy Garland songs, and her daughter sings on stage, and they have like people who come and she does like speeches and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, they fucked her mom. You know, like
she deserves a lot. She deserves a lot.
Yeah,
and it's fucking the whole family deserves a lot.
Do you want to do your key points and end with Pink Floyd? Or
I'm done. That's it. That's all I have. Now, my key points is all I really have left to mention is the hanging munchkin theory and then the dark side of Oz. That's all I have left.
Okay, so I heard the hanging munchkin theory was fake. Am I wrong?
Let me show you this video of what I did some research on it, and then I also watched a video on it. And this video kind of shows basically all you know. It's not like a beautiful video, but it's a really quick, like kind of like YouTube video this guy made, and it just shows like the differences in the video. You'll see, and then we'll talk about the facts. I did not get into the facts, and if anybody had like really looked into it, but I don't know for sure. So let me show you this real quick. Where are we at? Oh yeah, right there. And we'll do this, and then we'll do.
In the scene where Dorothy, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow begin walking along the yellow brick road after surpassing a wood cabin, in the back by the trees there is a small figure that appears to be hanging. The few people who had noticed this all came to the assumption.
My bad. Hold on. You couldn't see it, huh?
Mm-mm.
My fault.
I mean, I could see your screen, but I couldn't see.
All right, there we go.
That it is a munchkin. In the scene where Dorothy, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow begin walking along the yellow brick road after surpassing a wood cabin, in the back by the trees there is a small figure that appears to be hanging. The few people who had noticed this all came to the assumption that it is a munchkin who is hanging from one of the branches on the tree. Everyone was told time after time that it was simply a bird because they had filmed it at a zoo, and it made it seem more natural. Warner Bros. Re-released the film in 1998 where they had restored and remastered all of it. This is the tape that is most commonly found and what it is played on television. In this version, since it is a lot clearer, you can clearly see that it is in fact a bird. However, if you manage to find a clip of the original and play the two scenes right next to each other, it is very clear that something is definitely off. The bird in the renewed version is not in the exact same place as the bird in the original. Also, if you look closely, you can see that in the original, there's some kind of rope connected to one of the branches. And yet, after the 1998 version overpowered the original in popularity, people completely decided that it was in fact a bird, not even glimpsing at the very original. Of course, it is.
I don't know. Hold on. Let me end this. All right. Okay.
Nah, you know what? There it is. That's what it looked like.
It looked like a fucking hanging.
To be honest, dude, like, it makes total sense why a company like them would not let that out. And especially at that time, why how they would have the power to definitely not let it out, you know?
Sure.
So, yeah, why would they want that? And that it even makes sense with what Dorothy was saying. A lot of them were drunk, so they weren't paid much. Would make sense that one of them might do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so
There's
damn.
there's
I've never seen it that
on,
clear. I've seen a little video of it,
Yeah.
but never like.
And who knows?
where
That
it
could
looked
have been
like
a
that. That's
doctored
pretty sick.
video. Who knows?
No, I've seen it where it looks like that, but that one was a lot clearer, like the
Mm.
picture. So, like, yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna think it happened. Yeah. But,
I want to, you know what? I want to request all the names of the Munchkin actors.
oh, there's a
see.
list.
and
there's a
then I
list.
want to look up if all of them are who's alive and how they've died. And if any of them are missing from that list, that's him.
Well, Jerry Marin is alive, and he's the one who contests a lot of the shit that has been said. But
Okay.
he's supposedly very sick and can't do any interviews. But he's also the one who, I believe, from something I read, was specifically said to be one of the ones who fucked with Judy Garland.
Okay.
And the only reason he's alive now is because it's because he was a kid at the time. He was the one who, I believe, I could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's the one who gave her the lollipop. He said, "Well,
Yeah.
come here, come here," that guy. So I think that, yeah. So I don't know who the fuck knows, but
Yeah.
either way, shit
Not
is
me.
wild.
Yeah, that shit is wild. Do you want to get into this?
Let's do it, bruh.
Before we start this, I just don't want to forget to say this is there's an interesting part in the movie that I think is actually a good lead in into what we're about to talk about is I forget exactly what part it's at, but Dorothy is talking about the far, far away and where it's at, and she says behind the moon. At one point, she says it's behind the moon and beyond the rains or something. But behind the moon is also the dark side of the moon, which I think is interesting and a good segue into this. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, the far, far away is behind the moon," and I was like, "That makes sense," you know. Although I have read that Pink Floyd said that that they're not connected, but you've done it, and honestly, like, okay, so let me start this out. I did it, myself, and when I was watching it. The beginning, I was like, okay, like
explain what you did though for people who might not.
Oh shit, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. Okay, so pretty much what you do is you take Dark Side of the Moon, and as soon as the third lion roars during the little MGM opening, and not the third lion roars, I'm sorry. As soon as the lion roars the third time, I would say wait till like the end of the roar, and then you press play. And then after that, you just make sure it's on repeat too, because the album goes through, I want to say 2.5 times, maybe, yeah, 2.5. So before the movie's over, maybe it was 3 even. But so yeah, make sure it's on repeat. Start it on the third roar in the MGM, and then I would mute the sound. I had it muted the whole time. I had the subtitles on, but I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really paying attention.
I think you're supposed to have it muted, right? I don't know. If
yeah,
you're supposed to, but.
I'm pretty sure you are because they have music in there, so it would have thrown it off. So yeah, and then it starts out with the "Speak to Me, Breathe." That's how you know if you're doing it right. It should be on the right as it's breaking down into "Breathe." It should be around when you see the Mervyn LeRoy's name, and then that's when the clouds come in, which is perfect because when it breaks down into that, you know how it sounds. I can't even do it. It just like breaks into, and then you see the clouds because that's like the cover, Yeah. And then I'm not gonna lie, for a while I was like, okay, this is all right, but there are moments during it that do sync up really really well.
Multiple moments.
I was like, yeah, and like every time one would come up, I'd catch myself smiling. I'd be like, oh shit, like what the fuck?
So
like did that really happen? Like I was like, oh damn.
The first moment is when a lot of the tones of the movie and the tone of the album kind of fit really well. It's kind of fucking weird. And but the first moment that I saw that I remember that was like a huge moment was when they cut to the witch, the Wicked Witch of the West riding her bike, and that's like right when I believe time. Yeah.
Yes, time. Yeah, I was actually just looking at that. Yeah. It's right when she starts to. Yeah, it's when she's riding her bike down there.
There actually might be something before that, or that's before that is when Dorothy falls off when she's like walking on like this. And then she falls, and then that shit.
That's during the craziness too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that shit was wild. Those parts were the main parts that I remember in the very beginning.
Yeah,
but there's also like a couple parts like that that seemed like they should have had like little moments, and then they did it, and that kind of was like I don't know how to explain it. Like there's way more that was in common that it had in common, and that made sense, and that was a trip. But there was like slight moments that was like, oh, I thought something was supposed to happen there. You know what I'm saying? That like big parts of the album that didn't connect with the movie. But that's just nitpicking.
So,
Go ahead.
no.
I'm
You're
trying-
right. You're right.
Yeah.
Like some parts. That's why. Like it was cool. For sure. But like there were moments where I was like, okay, like this doesn't all match up.
Yeah.
But then there are moments in between that match up so well that I could see why somebody can make the case for everything, you know, because like some of it does. Like
Money,
there's
right when money starts, right when she opens the door to fucking all the color, money starts instantly, and money talk, and then it's the golden yellow brick road. It's money, and it's like this,
I didn't even see that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, with the golden. I was wondering too where money fit in. When I saw it, I was like, oh, that was one of the moments for me where I was like, I don't know if this fits that well. But then now that you say that, I didn't even think about.
Well,
that.
I think
road,
maybe
you know?
maybe this is my perception of it, but I've always took Pink Floyd's Money to be kind of like you guys are fucking idiots. Money is not everything, and look at these fucking humans thinking it is.
Definitely.
And also, I think that kind of correlates with the movie in a sense that she goes to this fantasy land of thinking that I don't know. Maybe that's just a weird perception I have of it, but it's a fantasy land filled with these wants for something you already have, which is kind of like what money is, and it's like it's like money is kind of what drives us all, and in the sense this yearning to want whatever we already got is what drives us all, and it kind of connects in a sense like that. And then gold.
No, yeah, I feel that. Yeah, no, I was looking for a part for that. Before that, though, I do have during time, Dorothy when she leaves her house, before she runs into the psychic when she leaves. The part that's playing in time is and then one day you find 10 years have got behind you, no one told you when to run, you missed the starting gun, and that's like when she starts to run away. Yeah, and then also when she gets to the psychic and she starts talking about, because he's asking her about her house, when she starts talking about her house, it's the outro of Time when he's saying home again. And it's like as she's saying that, which also, just so I don't forget, also happens. Let me make sure. Let me flip to the end right here. Oh, also that same part, home again, is also the exact part that plays as Dorothy wakes up at the very end when she wakes up back in her bed. It's crazy. It comes back to that part, the home again. That's like the third time I think Time plays. And I was like, damn, like it matches up so well because it's like right when she's in the bed and like barely got home. I was like, oh shit.
There's a moment too when like I think when they first meet the Tin Man and he's like, whoa, like back and forth, like wall up and lean back and forth. And it goes so perfectly with that part of the album. I forget what fucking part it was, but that legitimately, I was watching it at work, bro. I had my wireless earbuds in and I just had my phone right on my little cart. And I was watching it, and I was like, that part tripped me the fuck out. It was so fucking weird.
Yeah, no, dude. There's a couple more parts like that too. I'm trying to see where. If you have any, go ahead. I'm looking.
I'm trying to remember. I kind of like. I can't remember too many other parts.
Oh, I did have this. I thought Money, because Money was playing when the Munchkins were out too. I thought Money totally changed the whole fucking vibe of that whole scene. Like that scene went from Disney to like, oh shit, this is kind of badass. Like I like the way like it's going about, you know,
like a squad, like kind of look.
Yeah, dude. It made me not like see because originally the Munchkins, just because of the happiness and the songs, are almost a little like off-putting and scary. But with Money, I was like, oh shit, I go kick it in Oz. You know what I mean?
There's a part where fucking it's like us and them, and it's like right when the Munchkin boys and then the Munchkin girls come to talk. They have their little parts where they welcome you, and then what they're talking about. I think he says something about men, like it's on us and them, and it's something about the men or the human part, and it goes perfectly with that little part.
I got it right here. Let's see.
Something men or something humans. Or, I don't know.
Let me see.
Could be mistaken.
No.
Maybe Eclipse? I don't know if I can know.
The old man died.
Old man? I don't know.
Said the man, listen, son, said the man with the gun. I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, either way. But yeah, that was a crazy part. I'm trying to remember some other parts.
There is another us and them moment later when they get to the actual wizard. Because there's the part where he says us, us, and them. And during the us, the echoing, they're showing Dorothy and her friends, and right when they say them, they show the wizard. And I was like, oh shit, like it matches like perfectly.
Can you imagine
It's
being
fucking
just
cool.
tripping balls and just like fucking like,
Dude.
oh
I
my
know.
God, bro. I like, Jesus Christ. I can see how people get lost in this shit.
There's also when the Wicked Witch comes through in the beginning, not in the beginning, but
When her smoke
when
pops,
she's in
or-
Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah. The part that's playing is which is which and who is who, but the which is which is, and that's right. I'm sorry, that's when they introduce the Wicked Witch when they're talking about her, and it's like right when they're talking about her, it says that, which is pretty cool. Let's see, there's a.
Is there any sort of like facts or like people like have with like a real conspiracy theory thinking it was actually connected somehow, or
People did, but then I guess like Pink Floyd said something about that it was written that actually Dark Side of the Moon was written more for the sound of based off the sound of music than it was this movie. So Pink Floyd denied it, but I didn't really look too much into it. I just kind of looked up how to do it, and then on that same website they went through some of the similarities, but I tried to not look at them just because I wanted to see if I could find them myself. So I just wrote down the ones that I could find. But yeah, I mean, there are people who believe that it's perfectly synced, because I mean, it is strange that each time the album comes around, even though there's moments even the second and third time that the album's playing that still sync up. Like I said, at the very end, the home again. And it's weird that it keeps happening, even though when it's repeated. So that's why I also feel like it definitely has to be coincidence, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But
I've seen a video about Paul Blart Mall Cop that if you watch it with Dark Side of the Moon, it's fucking crazy as well. Yeah, for real. I swear to God.
That'd be dope. Dude, this is interesting too. I actually thought this is one of the parts that really had me like, oh shit. Is right when they're introducing Scarecrow is when Brain Damage plays for the first time.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about
Scarecrow
no
don't have, and he talks about how he doesn't have a brain, and Scarecrow, I was like, damn, that's perfect. And then they're also when they're running away, like they're kind of funnily running away, her and the Scarecrow, they're like skipping. That's right as the part as they're laughing in Brain Damage, which kind of synced up perfectly. It almost felt like, like it was supposed to be like laughing with them, Yeah. And then let's see. And then the part in Eclipse when it says, and all you create, at that moment when that lyric plays is when they oil up the Tin Man and he comes alive, which is pretty crazy. Yeah. And dude, there's a couple moments where I was like, oh shit, and then a lot of them I'm pretty sure I missed because there was a lot more written down. Also, dude, this part was fucking tripped me out too. At the end of Eclipse going back around and to speak to start over the album, there's that heartbeat, and that heartbeat is playing as the Tin Man says, if you think I'm perfect, bang on my chest. And he doesn't have a heart, and that's literally the heartbeat's playing. That whole part, the heartbeat was playing. Because the heartbeat's long because it's at the end of Eclipse and at the beginning song, so they run into each other, so it's kind of extended. That part tripped me out. And then after that, there wasn't much for a while. There wasn't a lot of big ones until the Us and Them when they got to Oz and the lyrics were syncing. And then, and then the part where he says forward, he cried, which is in that song. It plays as they push the lion forward to start talking to the wizard.
I do remember that. Yeah, that part being kind of crazy.
Yeah, and then this Tin Man jumps perfectly during the part where he says up, 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 and then the lion is running away, and he dives down that little chute right when he says and down, down. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, and then let's see. Is there any more? That might be it. And then when she wakes up, like at least what I got, and then when she wakes, that's what I have. And then she wakes up to the song,
Well, yeah, any fucking acid heads out there, let us know if you guys have any other connections you've seen. If there's some sort of secret fucking Easter eggs about LSD experiences with the Wizard of Oz.
I think it's also worth noting when the Great Gig in the Sky starts, the very last time is when the credits start rolling, and the credits is the sky in the background. True. And that's right when the Great Gig. Yeah, dude. Yeah, so it's a.
I low-key forgot how fucking great of an album Dark Side of the Moon is. I was like,
dude, when I was listening to it too, I said the same thing. I was like, fuck, like I know it is, but I think it's such a common album for people to say is amazing that I think I forget sometimes how amazing it really is. And then like sitting, like listening, I've been listening to it a lot now since then. Like I was even thinking like a podcast would be good on that. Like, but I mean, I feel like there's been so much said about it also that's the only problem.
Not by us.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, that's true. Because dude, the song Time alone, I feel like you can write an essay on that song. Time is literally like such a universal song for everybody ever that's ever lived. Doesn't matter what you think about your life. Time is your song, you know? Like if you really read the lyrics, it's fucking for everybody, you know? Such a crazy, and it's a depressing ass song too, you know? It's like we're just
speak to me too.
Yeah. Dude, the whole album, and dude, that shit where the girls sing. I think I told you that I saw him, and when I saw him, he was doing Dark Side, and he had these two chicks with him, and dude, they sang that song. Is it the Great Gig in the Sky where the girls are just and dude, they did that shit, and I was on mushrooms, and it was fucking amazing.
I can only imagine, Jesus,
dude,
Christ.
It was beautiful. But I don't want to get too off of this, dude. You know, Wizard of Oz. There was actually a lot to say about it.
There was. It's freaking almost 2. We're in 2 hours right now. This shit's wild. We're probably end up being like an hour 45, but yeah.
Yeah, man. Is there anything else you want to add about it?
Honestly, dude, I'm fucking Wizard of Oz out. I fucking got really sad talking about Judy Garland. But yeah, I mean, shit. I don't know. I had fun with it, but I'm fucking I'm Oz'd out now.
Yeah, dude, good work, dude. You fucking did a lot of the shit. You know, I feel like there's a good amount of gaps for me. I'm not talking.
No, well, hey, you know? That's kind of what I was like, kind of. Yeah, I'm kind of like, that's kind of what I wanted to do is like fucking let me just because I just that's what I told you, like just enjoy it. Don't even fucking trip on anything. Just enjoy the fucking movies or as much as you can.
Yeah, no, dude. I'm glad you did it. Yeah, no, I like that we do that too. So the next one for Hereditary, I'm gonna do this shit. You know.
Yeah.
I'm actually probably gonna watch that shit right now. Actually.
Yeah, I'm downloading right now for sure. So.
Yeah. But yeah, dude. Fucking anything you want to say?
That's it, man. Thank you guys for listening. If you guys are here,
R.I.P. Judy.
R.I.P. Judy. Appreciate you guys for listening. We will be back every 2 weeks in October. We're gonna have 3 episodes at a minimum. So yeah, we aren't going nowhere. We here, we moving. We just got some, scheduling stuff that we're ironing out. It's the beginning of the podcast, so stick with us. And yeah.
Next episode, October 6th. Join the Discord. If you have any questions or anything, put them in the YouTube and the Discord. Yeah. I love when people actually write shit back. It's cool.
We'll be back. Come check us out, everybody. Peace and love.
Later.